We don't use any like impression or reach metrics for exactly that reason. Like it's because it changes over time, even within a platform. It's different across platforms. So like the reach for Facebook doesn't mean the same thing as like your reach for like a podcast ad. And so like once you're trying to like compare those two, you're all of a sudden using different variables that are defined very differently.
Is inventory. So if we're doing media inventory, I know this for a fact, if you go and follow Facebook or Google's default kind of suggestions and placements, etc., they're going to sell you a lot of this sort of cheap junk inventory, which doesn't really have an effect on the sales, right? But it racks up really nice reach figures or impressions. So the danger here I find, and the same happens with offline media, by the way, if you're not careful about how you spend, because everyone wants to upload the highest profit margin inventory, right? Is that if you're then creating a model based on like a reach metric or something and looking for uplifts, like your model is based on shitty inventory, in the mix. So is cleaning up and being really clear about the data sources coming in, the integrity of that data to start with, really critical to the model's accuracy?
It is really critical. We don't use any like impression or reach metrics for exactly that reason. Like it's because it changes over time, even within a platform, exactly for the way that you described. It's different across platforms. So like the reach for Facebook doesn't mean the same thing as like your reach for like a podcast ad. And so like once you're trying to like compare those two, you're all of a sudden using different variables that are defined very differently. And so like we don't do any of that. And a lot of modelers, I don't think, fully make that connection, and that's a place where people really can go wrong.
What is the better sort of metrics if you had to give a broad remit instead of reach and impressions that we should be using? Behavioral actions? Or?
People really want to, I think, you really want to focus on the things that marketers control and that like map onto the bottom line, which is like spend. And so that's what we generally encourage most people to focus on marketing spend as the variables that you're measuring, because those are the things that actually matter and that you can actually control. And so that requires less translation when you're thinking about interpreting the results. And then you want to focus on the relationship between spend and then the outcome variable that actually moves the needle for the business. Again, like driving traffic to the website is probably not the right thing, because you can drive a lot of low quality traffic very easily, as every marketer knows. And so you want to focus on the conversions, the things that are like closer to the conversion event, so that you're not going to get led astray by those sorts of other problems.